to climb.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Condition for Success, Mindset of a Millionaire, where we're here joined with our very own producer, Deanna Brakefield. Now, Deanna is, for those that don't know, works in the background of things, but she also has her own podcast, has 7 kids, homeschooled some of them currently, and has her entire marketing company. So it just goes into saying, it's like, what makes the definition of a millionaire? It's like, well, let's go into finding out on the mindsets. Thank you for joining us, Deanna.
Hey, you're welcome. I mean, I'm not sure what I'm doing here yet, but you're welcome.
So, you of all people know on like what inspired my start of this podcast was the book that we had read. And it's like, so between what you've read in the book, what you've seen some of the all the interviews going through, just share from a little bit on your perspective of what you feel defines that mindset of a millionaire.
I think honestly, and it's super simple and it's a nod, but it's don't stop till you get there. I mean, mindset of a millionaire, half of it is all about stubbornness.
So anyone who's stubborn can be the millionaire.
I mean, at least it's a good start.
So when it goes into mindset, a lot of people think like, I just can't think like you think, or I don't. One of the hardest lessons I learned was other people don't think the way that you do. Mm-hmm. So how can we work with people or help people to shift their mindset to not think like the millionaires exactly, but to think in that level of mindset? It's be stubborn, never quit, and just have at it.
No, I know it's a little bit oversimplified, and a lot of it has to do with you have to figure out where your heart really is. I mean, we've known each other for a couple of years now, and when I first started my marketing agency, my heart was not in it. I hated it. It was boring. It was so much technical babble. I was doing it because my husband wanted to start a company with the two of us working together, but I had no passion for what we were doing. And over time, that evolved. And as you start to link your passions into it, it gives it a life of its own. And when I say stubbornness is really the key, what I'm actually saying is, as you begin to do whatever it is you're going to do, whether you're going to college, whether you're starting a business for the first time, starting a family, a marriage, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, that resolve that I am not going to let the world tell me no, and that I am not going to be successful. That's kind of the foundation. Because to me, if you're willing to listen to what the world and other people have to say, they're going to pull you off of your path. They're going to confuse your mission. They're going to confuse your messaging. And in a year, you're going to look up and have no idea where you are or how you got there. So it's kind of that resolve, that stubbornness, that will.
So I just heard something this morning about a guy's like, if somebody comes up to you and says, I hate your blue hair, you don't have blue hair, you're going to go, I'm not that way. I don't have that. I'm not really worried about your insult. But if somebody says, you're not good enough, you can't be a millionaire, a lot of us feel like, I'm never going to make it. It's like, when you know yourself, it doesn't matter what everybody else says. So I feel that kind of goes into that stubbornness, is like, if you're that passionate and stubborn about, I know my dream, I know my mission, doesn't matter what anybody else says, I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, I mean, what do other people's opinions have to do with me? I can't control the way that they form them. I can very, very rarely have any input that will change their opinions. So that was one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn as I've been walking this path, is other people's opinions actually have zero impact on me unless I let them. And if I let them, their opinions and ideas are almost always designed to drag me down to their level.
So yeah, these are the little profound things that when you start thinking this way, it's like it starts coming up like, that's that mindset of millionaire. It's like, you don't have to always. Jim Rohn talked about it, where he says it's like $1 million does not a millionaire make you. It's like, if somebody gives you $1 million, you better become a millionaire real fast. Otherwise, you're going to lose that money tomorrow. But going into the foundation a bit, you mentioned that like you started the business and you weren't really passionate about when that, like, can do attitude came into play? Is at what point kind of like did that mindset shift?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about chronologically, it was probably about 2 years ago, right around Christmas time. And but if you're talking about philosophically, it was when it stopped being my husband's vision and started being mine. I had to find my place. I had to want to engage. I had to be grasping and reaching towards these ethereal goals that only the vision of success only lives in my head. No one else can see it. I mean, it doesn't matter how pretty your vision board is, no one else actually sees the vision that is living inside your soul, for lack of a better way to put it. And so understanding that you can never fully communicate your dream, you have to crawl inside it, you have to live it, because if you don't, it's going to slip away from you.
So, there's a Les Brown saying that talks about, dreams came to you, and imagine like when we pass away that instead of our loved ones, it's the visions of our dreams surrounding our bed saying, we came to you to be brought to life, and now we must die with you. So it's like, I feel having that dream and bringing it out of yourself to come into fruition is really showing more and more. I mean, between those that don't know, having the podcast you got, but also what you instill in the children, because you have 7 kids now, and how much are you teaching them all the time?
Well, I mean, my children are getting older, except for the toddler who is not quite ready for kindergarten yet. So they do a lot of self-direction at this point. It's mostly an oversight job, hilariously, once they get past like fourth or fifth grade. Um, and there's my ADHD. What was the question?
I would, yes, no. See, this is the other challenge. We'll talk about this in a bit, but it's like the having the mindset while also having an ADHD mind gets a very complex and fun way of living. It's like, but how your kids are learning, or how you're teaching your kids now, and then even adding on to it is, do you see what you've learned developing into them?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've had an entire environment shift over the last couple of years. I mean, we when we first started doing homeschool, it was right before COVID, so we got ahead of the curve, yay! But when we first started, it was, you have to do this. The law requires it. If you don't, I go to jail, and it was a fight every day because I was telling them why what they needed to do was important to me. But as they saw me learning, as they saw me taking classes, building out different parts of our business and our programs, they started to see that I wasn't following somebody else's rules. I was getting to make my own rules. And we started having conversations about what that looked like for their futures, because, I mean, they're kids. They don't really see, they think they know what 25 looks like, but they haven't actually started to explore the full picture of that. And so they started to see this world where they didn't have to go to a 9 to 5. They could build their reality to suit them in a way that would allow them to grow and not be dogpiled on by the rest of the world out there. Because what Mark hasn't mentioned is I dropped just a second ago that I'm ADHD. All of my children are neurodivergent as well. We have autistic children, we have anxiety disorders, we have depression, we have ADHD in plethora, obviously, because it's the gift that keeps on giving. But they had always had this pretty negative outlook about what life was going to look like for them, because they were going to have to fit into this very narrow neurotypical box. And as I've been doing what I've been doing over the last several years, they've gotten to see that no, the future looks like whatever version they paint, not necessarily the pre-painted canvas that they were handed.
I feel this goes directly to not just mindsets of millionaires, but entrepreneurs. And this shows it's like for all viewers, know that no matter what your circumstances are right now, whether you have ADHD or autism or nothing, none of the above, or whatever obstacles you face, you can design the world to be what it is that you want it to be for your reality, as long as you have that stubbornness and can do attitude, and just believing it is possible for you if you start getting, going at this. So you can always check other episodes, but it's like this, I feel, goes into like your kids are designing their life already at their ages. But I know a lot of people don't start doing that until they're in their 30s or 40s.
I know I didn't. I mean, when I graduated high school, I knew what my future looked like. I was going to go to a 4-year college. And when I got my music degree, then I was going to go to post secondary and get an education degree. And I was going to be a band director. And by the time I was 30, I was going to have 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and so on and so forth. And let me tell you what, once life gets its claws into you, um, all that goes straight out the window. Like every single bit of it goes out the window. Um,
No, I know you got the 7 kids. So it's like, but let's go into the that story a little bit, where it's like you went to high school, you're graduating high school. Did you graduate on time? Did you go to college? And then what was the plan from there? At because like the original plan was high school, college, band director, but what ended up happening was
well, see, I mean, this is a typical story for neurodivergent people. I was an overachiever in high school. I graduated third in my class of 600. I went to college on a full ride music scholarship, which is unheard of. I went through 4 years of school. I got 6 weeks from graduation and realized that this was not for me and just walked away.
so you actually never got your degree.
I did not. I do not hold after 4.5 years of college because I did go back and try again. I don't even have a degree.
Yeah. And so for all the people that are looking at, I don't have a degree, I don't have a great education, I don't have this, so I can't be successful. I was like, that's just more or less BS, or just what society tells us is our requirements to be successful.
Oh, it's absolutely BS. You should never accept somebody else's definition of success because no one else lives in your meat suit, as a great friend of mine would say. No one else lives in the hormone soup that you live in. How could somebody else's definition of success fit you and suit you well?
I like there's Les Brown's teacher in high school told him, don't let someone else's opinion become your reality.
Exactly.
As like, but I feel a lot of us, Jay Shetty has talked about where it's like, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. And we get so caught up in this perception of a perception world that we forget to look within ourselves and realize, like, wait, I am, as I think I am. That's what I am. Therefore, I think, therefore I am, is Rene Descartes thing. Right? It's like, it's what do you think of yourself? Do you feel you're a success now? And even to you personally, do you feel your business and your motherhood has become success in life now?
Okay, look, that's a trick question. It's a balancing act. I mean, you almost never feel like you're getting 100% of everything right. So this week, I might be having a great week with my business. All my accounts paid on time. Everything is flowing perfectly. I'm not behind on the work. And my teenage daughter is having a meltdown because her boyfriend hasn't spoke to her in every single hour of every single day for the last 2 days. And so the home life is filled with drama and it feels like, that's weighing you down and pulling. And then there's other weeks where everything is harmony. I know this sounds like a fantasy, but everything is harmonious in the house. The kids aren't fighting. Schoolwork is caught up. Everybody's got decent grades. Everybody's in a great mood. And I can't do anything right to save my life with the business. It seems like I'm behind on every deadline. And this happens. It's always a balancing act. So you cannot strive for perfect because you're never going to get there and your hair is going to fall out in the process.
So does perfect equate to success?
No, never. Perfect equates to other people are impressed with what you did.
Until they're not, because it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
and so I hear a little bit of what we've heard in previous episodes of, Shakayla Shears talked about how she had the 6 kids and working the job and building her business. And it's a bunch of different spinning plates. They're not all spinning perfectly at the same time. And I believe it was Frank Schmeling who spoke about Matthew McConaughey's speech, commencement speech, that says on how being a great father or being a great in business or being great with friendships, but you're never all simultaneously. It's just different things of that balancing that you were mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so, but I look at it as like, how is it you balance, especially with the season or with the holiday season coming up? Because you're mentioning how like everything's harmonious and then it's Christmas. Is Christmas part of the harmonious time or part of the chaotic time?
It's a little of both, but a lot of the chaos is self-imposed. So my family, we do a December 1st to December 24th, a different activity every night. We have a blast doing it, but it's a lot of stress and it's a lot of pressure on, mom must perform perfectly. It's almost like a play. And so, let's say tonight we're supposed to have family movie night and dinner blows up and it's 8 o'clock and I've just put the plates on the table. Everybody's griping because everybody's hangry. We may not get to the movie tonight. And so then I feel bad because, oh, the guilt, we didn't make it a perfect Christmas. But all that's just BS. That's your personal belief systems. And some of it you have to recognize that you're locking yourself in the box. You're putting yourself in prison with your own expectations, which are often unreasonable.
For those that don't follow, the reference always is BS is your belief system. For those thinking otherwise, it's like, well, you got to change
It's
your
that
mindset. You know,
too.
you know, this is like I always remember my mentor telling me how he asked his wife something and she looked over to him and said a four-letter word that started with F, and then said you. And it's like, and it was fine. And it's like, because the word fine is a very bad word to have in your vocabulary, because when you're saying I'm fine, means fine is not a good thing. Fine is not a bad thing. Fine is just a neutral playing ground. So when you're looking at balancing all these things in life and you say I'm fine, it's like, I feel like that's kind of like a dead weight to carry of like, you're surviving, but you're not thriving. And so we're doing this podcast to help people learn how to shift from survival mode into thrival mode, especially with the new year coming. So even going into your story of like you were surviving before with because what was the job that you had before you started your business that paid all the bills and everything?
Look, I didn't have a job. Let's be real. I started this marketing agency and everything I've done in the last 5 years after being a stay-at-home mom for 15 years with no work history. So, I mean, like, you can start from anywhere, really.
Yeah. I think it's like the the hardship comes at what point, and then realizing like we need to start a business or we should start a business.
Okay, so I mean, like, I joke about this constantly, but I tell people my husband had a midlife crisis. He literally came home from work one day and went, "Hey, have you heard about this guy named Robert Kiyosaki? He does some really interesting stuff with real estate." And I'm like, "Real estate? What do we know about real estate? Why would we even put our toes in that pond?" He started the marketing company as a means to pay for his real estate plan.
So we'll maybe get there still, but it is a thing of start with something. It starts somewhere. Whatever
Yeah.
your plan is, start somewhere.
Well, I mean, a business, regardless of what kind of business that you're starting, is essentially you're bringing a toddler into your worldview. Now, I know that sounds crazy. You've heard me talk about this, and a couple of other people have, and everybody will get to hear about it with the book that's coming out next April. But every business is like having a child in your household. In the beginning, it's loud, it's messy, it demands 95% of your attention at all times, and will make you wish that you could be on antidepressants and Valium and all the happy mood altering medications. Over time, as it grows, it becomes a toddler. It starts doing things on its own. It starts to develop a personality. It demands less and less of your time. The fun part is buckle up when it hits its teenage years, because that is when the growth is explosive. But you never really know what your business is going to do from day to day, because just like a teenager, it's got attitude in all the wrong places and you're still working out all the kinks.
So for anyone who's looking at starting a business, or you're in your early days as in the infancy of your business, or maybe you're in the toddler days, or hey, if you are in the teenage years of your business where you've been running it for, 10, 13 years, well, we got talk with Deanna about having a buckle in marketing team for you, because it's going to get hard over the next few years. But at some point it reaches a thing where it's like, it's peaceful, they're gone. Yeah.
It happens. That happens. Wait. Why didn't anybody tell me? Now I have something to look forward to.
Yeah. Right, because that's the whole thing of, I mean, from, I don't know it from being the parent, but I know from my parents and things, where and talking with other parents, that if business is truly being like parenting, then once it gets to a certain age, that adult age, 20, 25, that they get to move out on their own and they get to be their own problems and deal with their own stuff, you get to reap all the rewards they do because you help build them.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I know we're both waiting for that point for the businesses, but it's like, I know your business is getting into those teenage years. It's like, my business is getting to a point where it's actually starting to realize, like, oh wait, I don't have to work this every single day for it to grow. Yeah, it's, so for those that start looking at businesses and developing that mindset, is like, know that in the very beginning it's the hardest, but as it goes on, things will get, I don't want to say easier, but simpler. So
Well, it's
just,
like I equate everything to family, and it's just like parenting. When you first bring that first newborn home from the hospital, no matter how many books you've read, no matter how many courses you've taken, no matter how prepared you think you are, you never are. It's that baby is going to throw you 100 curveballs, and your new business is the same way. It's going to keep throwing you curveballs, but just like with most parents, over time, you get comfortable with it. You start to understand its patterns and its routines, and then it starts to calm down.
so if we want to condition our minds for success, should we just start reading all the parenting books and substitute child in for your business?
Well, it's less about parenting and more about relationships. I mean, most people treat their business like this mythological entity that is meant to give them something. It's meant to produce for them, instead of treating their, and I know this sounds a little crazy and a little woohoo, but you treat your business like a person. Well, Mark, if I want you to make me $10,000 this month, am I going to come at you kicking and screaming and slapping you in the back of the head and telling you how horrible you're doing and screaming about the balance in your bank account and the fact that you don't have any friends? Absolutely not. If you did that to a person or a child, they would either hate you or disintegrate under your pressure. If you, but just, ugh, I got tongue tied. Sorry. But this, on the other hand, with your business, if you're understanding, if you're generous, if you don't necessarily expect every moment to be perfect, or that every client is, you're never going to have a hiccup with any of the clients, but when the hiccups do happen, you give grace, it grows almost on its own because people see that magnetic energy that you're feeding into your business, into the people around you, and it becomes reciprocal.
So for, I know you mentioned on like the shift that you had of the plan. I kind of wonder if we went back further, was the plan at like, early childhood, like 5, 6 years old, being like, I was in love with music and I wanted to go to high school to be in band and be a band director, or was it something different at the 5, 6 years old level?
At 5 years old, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to help people. I wanted to heal things. And in a roundabout sort of way, I may not have a PhD behind my name, but what I do today is healing people and their businesses and the relationships between them.
I find it interesting where it's those things where we get those call-ins, because like when I first started going into planning of high school and college, my original at 5 was to be president. Then later on, realizing how that affects family life, I didn't want to bring that on the family of having kids and stuff, and I wanted to be like, well, let me be a high school math teacher. And then they always say the whole thing is like, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, and it's like, because ends up being now I teach people math in a different way. I teach adults how to use mathematics and numbers and compensation plans to, give them more freedom in their life. But it's just like life never really turned out for either of us how we originally planned it, it seems.
That's
But
okay though.
I was like, I'd say, would you say it turned out pretty well on your end? Because like you planned on, you said you originally planned 2.5 kids, now you got seven. It's like, and is that the regret?
I'm going to say that while I mean, I won't lie, there are days that I question my life choices and what I was thinking with adopting children and having as many as we had together. Like every parent goes through that. There are just some days that are just a little too much. But overall, I have to say it came out better than I could have planned for myself because I imagined a world where I was a single mom. Like by the time I got to college, I thought no one would ever love me. I'll never find a part. I mean, there's a lot of self depreciation in our early 20s. But yeah, I mean, it came out so much better than I ever could have planned for myself. You have to let it grow organically. If you stick too hard to the plan that you designed when you're 20, when you're 40, you're going to look up and say, I hate my life.
So it really can shift though, no matter what your belief system is at 12, 15 years old, you can shift it to something entirely different 10 years later.
Absolutely.
Because I know a lot of people, they get stuck in this rut of feeling like I'm just this way. This is my life. This is how it is. It is what it is. It's like, is it though?
My main thing that I would food for thought that I would put there though is you're not going to do it alone. Human beings are not meant to do anything alone. Does that mean you need a business partner? No. But you do have to have somebody that at the end of a really stressful situation, you can pick up the phone and say, vent all the rage, all the frustration, all the nastiness, and let it go so you can move on.
Now I know we could probably do a whole other episode on video games because we both have a passion with that. But at the very least, to say life is not a one-player game.
Exactly. Ready Player Two. Let's go.
That's a movie that's coming out. So you're looking
Oh,
for a
is it
movie.
really?
If you're looking for a movie coming out, there's Ready Player Two coming out. We definitely watched the first one so you can understand. For you're looking for a book coming out, we got something coming out in April. You were mentioning, you were alluding to there.
I have my publisher has not decided on a firm title yet, but all this craziness that I've been talking about with business and relationships being like raising children. Yeah, somebody finally convinced me to put all that on paper. We'll see how that goes.
All right. And we will be working on a book for the platform of Condition for Success within the next coming year. So you can follow for that. But definitely go back and check other episodes, follow for more episodes, because this is just getting started. We are going soon to be in 2026, and it's going to be the year that we are built for more. So thank you for tuning in for another episode of Condition for Success, Mindset of a Millionaire.
Start the clock, the race is